Welcome back, everybody. We're here on point now. If you guys don't know, a lot of the guys in Sphere have ended up doing things very cringy. They're switching over to politics. They're switching over to religion. They're switching to MBTI. I figure we're going to keep this on point and keep this space the way it used to be. Just guys talking about chicks, having fun, being regular guys, doing regular things without the influence of the world shaming us for it. As always, here we're on Royce, one of the three original R's of the Manosphere, arguably the guys who kind of created the red-pilled space, along with Roosh V, R.I.P., and Rollo Tomasi, of which Rollo's the only one that seems to remain. So, getting into it here, we're going to have the next post by Royce. First year Royce, probably one of the best things you could read, especially if you want to kind of learn the fundamentals of this place. And here, back in 2007, on April 11th, the excerpt from the Book of Alpha. What's the Book of Alpha? I don't know. I've never seen it. But he kind of uses those as like literary tools, kind of like how he has his Royce's maxims. But they're always like random numbers. There is no list of them and whatever. I think somebody actually did collect them all into a finite list. Typical of people with autism, they always have to listify everything. But enough of that. We're moving on. There's actually a good piece of advice on this one. It's going to give you guys a nice rule of thumb, especially when it comes to texting. Now, in the years since, we've kind of switched over to having the attitude that text is for logistics only. And what do I mean by that? Well, that means when you're texting somebody, you shouldn't be trying to flirt with them. You shouldn't be trying to seduce them. You shouldn't be trying to be your most attractive and engaging and charismatic self. It's largely like, hey, I'll be here at this time. You'll be there at that time. Logistics stuff. Now, is that the perfect rule? No. But especially if you're not good at text game, it's the best way to keep you from sabotaging yourself. Because let's face it, you can't go on a date, whether it's with a girl, a girlfriend, or a wife, without face-to-face contact. And assuming you have any social charisma whatsoever, that's where you're going to shine. So texting needs to be a tool to get you to that situation as soon as possible. Having said that, we're moving in. Royce says here, every text, email, or recordable instance of conversation you have with a girl must follow this simple rule. If it were given a public airing, let's say on a blog or a sports stadium Jumbotron. Oh, do you guys remember those? I miss those. All right, well, as long as we save one life, right? Anyways, you should feel comfortable with what you have written for the world to see. You should not feel an urge to wince because it will be clear that everybody's reading it knows how alpha you are. Again, he uses the terms alpha and beta kind of interchangeably in his blog. He's using it in this case, alpha meaning good, beta meaning bad. Again, this is old, very, very old stuff in the sphere. This is like 13 years ago now. So in the time upcoming, we've come to know, beta means comfort, alpha means, sexual desire, and omega generally means unattractive stuff. So a lot of these ones, when you see somebody saying you should act alpha and act beta, just think, what kind of response are you getting from it? Is it that dopamine response of desire or the oxytocin response of comfort? And if you're getting neither, well, you can call it omega or just be a normie and not use this jargon when you're outside of the internet because nobody cares. Anyways, should not feel an urge to wince. If the thought of somebody other than you and your girl reading your permanently archived romantic exchanges makes you cringe with embarrassment, then you are doing something wrong that will eventually lead to your girl dumping you. And he has examples. An example of texting from a place of betatude. You, good morning, love chop. I had a great time with you last night. Her, me too. Can't wait to see you again. You free this Thursday? Miss you. Mwaha. Her, aw, thanks. Call me later. Emoji, will do. Just saying that kind of makes me feel cringe. You gotta admit, it does sound a little wincy. But people reading this will puke a little and say, what a lame ass, like that's gonna last. Now, examples of a place of alphaness. You, nothing. Again, why are you initiating the conversation? I always say relationships are a woman's job and there's a good reason for it. The idea here is that initial attraction, that burden of performance is on you. But at that point, you can't be driving this interest. She has to want more from you than the one night stand. And so, again, these are almost ways for you to engage with the investment of the other person. So if she's not invested, you being invested just shows a neediness. And if that's a problem because it's the only girl that you have right now that you're dating, perhaps you need to get out there and have a few more initial conversations with girls to the point where at least one of them is texting you. Case in point, you, nothing. Her, you there? I haven't heard from you in a while. Hey babe, what's up? The love last night was incredible. All right, that's a girl talking, whatever. The love last night was incredible. Have you been thinking of me? Just a little. Her, emoji emoji, miss you already, baby, moi. You, nothing. The difference is clear. This man kept his responses shorter than his girls and intriguingly aloof. He has refrained from emoting effusively, and an objective third party would say, yeah, he's cool. I bet you he gets laid a lot. And you want to be the man that thinks he gets laid a lot, even if you don't. He adds a little piece here, avoid texting on a regular basis. It's borderline beta. A man should not have the empty time to punch in a frivolous conversation with a girl using only his thumb. Again, too many things to break down here. It's actually got a lot put into such a small piece here. Texting's for logistics only. You shouldn't be sparing your feelings. You shouldn't be validation seeking. You shouldn't be using this to gauge the interest of the girl. That right there is the scarcity and the subtext that people pick up on. For example, if you're constantly texting somebody, what you're looking for is reassurance of any desire that's there. And if a girl sees you acting very clingy like that, remember, she's probably got 20, 30, 170 guys, whatever the number is. It's more than one. It's more than you. Even the hardest four out there has more attention than some of the hottest guys, and that's the point. She sees all these guys, and there's going to be two types of behavior she's going to see. She's going to see clingy behavior, and she's going to see aloof behavior. She's going to see very little aloof behavior, so it's going to stand out like a sore thumb, because as humans, we're all pattern seeking. We notice this. That's weird. Every guy keeps asking me how I'm doing every morning, and every time I put out a tweet, 15 guys are thirsting in my mentions. Why does this guy not care? Again, it perks interest. Not going to say that it makes things all better. Not going to say it's making you the most alpha that ever existed and that girls will be throwing their panties at you. What I'm saying is little things like this taken together add to, I don't know, a mystique to let people think for some reason you might be a worthwhile dude to spend some time with. Now, you see a lot of guys talking about how great they are. Meanwhile, they're being needy as hell. So let's just assume everybody is great as they think they are. Why would you want to sabotage that by communicating the exact opposite? Just don't. And I think this is one of those rules, doesn't get talked about enough, but it definitely is worth talking about more. I don't think he had a name for it, did he? Let's move back up here. No, he didn't give it a rule. We'll just call it, we'll call it the Jumbotron rule. Anytime you're sending a permanent communication to somebody on a tweet, on a DM, an Instagram, on a snap, on a text, or, a phone call, do they even do those anymore, or did that go away with the landline? The point is, anything that's a permanent record of note, a third party should be able to look at that and not cringe. Again, we're not at the point yet where we're worried about being our most attractive and best self. At this point, we're just like, let's get rid of all the stupid, negative, sabotaging stuff. And in this case, not sounding like a dumbass when you text is a good first start. Again, the Jumbotron rule will never serve you wrong. I still use it my best times to this day. Having said that, I'm sure somebody in the comments will make a reference to a tweet that sounded cringy as F, but that's fine. We all make mistakes. Just try to make as few of them as possible. Anyways, on that note, that's it. Glad you guys enjoyed this one. We got another on point, Ryan. Tomorrow we're gonna keep plugging through. You're actually gonna like it because it's gonna be a little more humorous, a little more man showish, and it's good because I think a lot of guys forget about that. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.